Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Jack the Lad podcast. On today's episode, we've got on Matthias Hellboy Schlitte.
Schlitte. Yeah, nearly
Schlitte.
right.
Right.
But you're getting better.
I've been practicing, but it ain't there yet, people.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, not a problem at all. So we've had a few issues before, ladies and gentlemen, and I promise, again, it isn't my end. I came across you on Instagram, as I do all of my guests, really, with you lifting up the 78 kilogram dumbbell.
Exactly. That was me.
And it mightily impressive, obviously. And then, but as you turn towards the camera, you can see that your right arm is huge compared to the rest of you. So then, started digging, looking into you, went through your profile, and I was like, arm wrestling, right, here we go. Here's something. And then, and obviously I came across that you've put it to good use. So how did it all begin? Where what's the origin story of Matty?
Yeah, so we can start with the arm, or we can start with the arm wrestling. So what's your favorite? So it depends on. So the arm is much longer in my life than the arm wrestling.
Well, just from the start, really, I'd like to know, going, if you were born with it, and how you were, in life, and then how you became, how you got into arm wrestling.
Yes, sure. So I was born in 1987, so a couple of years ago, and it was still the former GDR. And during this time, it was not so easy to get a look on babies before they were born. And when I was born, then it was obviously directly after I was born, my right arm always was bigger than the left one. And when the nurse give baby Matti to his mom, she said, "Oh, your son will be a boxer one day." So that was nearly one of the first sentence my parents heard it. But everything worked fine. So the doctors, even it's far away in the past, so it's some kind of birth defect, and it affected my right arm bone. So it's 33% thicker, not longer, just thicker than the left one. So that's why my body carries my whole life like a bigger bone inside than the left one. So left is normal one, and right one is 33% thicker than the left one. So that's a whole secret, behind the arm.
Wow. So how like with getting clothes and stuff like that, how did that all work?
So directly after when I was like a small child and my dad went to military service, for example, I was long alone with my mom at home. And first she was just bigger, so nobody knows that it's more powerful. And then we lived in this kind of apartment which was heated by a coal oven. And as a small child of 3 years or whatever, you always want to help mom and the whole stuff. And she went to the basement and tried to get the coals up in the apartment. And so I was like sitting on the steps on the steps, and then my mom turned around and gets the coal and the whole stuff, and turned around again. And then when she saw me, she saw that I lifted a little bit this heavy coal bucket with my right arm. So that was the first hint that it's not just bigger, but also more powerful than the left one. So that was one of the first before anything else happened. Yeah.
So what about after that? Like what at school and stuff like that? How did you fare there?
So pretty normal. So we moved to a village, and then I went to primary school, to secondary school, the whole stuff. But I got like brilliant parents, and they always told me that if people are looking, just describe them. And got like a brilliant childhood, many friends, good stuff here, playing outside in my village, and running around and building up some kind of wooden stuff, and playing in the forest. So all good. So no. Sometimes people want to give me like the lonely and the buried guy, but everything was the bullied guy, but everything pretty normal childhood, all went well. And was always the best on pull-ups in physical education. So that was good, but got like a good childhood here. Yeah, and so we moved out of the town when I was 3 years old to some kind of house and had like a good childhood. Yeah.
So with it, as you've grown up then and got, as you've got older with it, was there any sort of was any part of you that was like, oh, I need to work my left more and trying to see if you can sort of balance it out?
To balance it out, it's like, so you can't balance it out, so that's why, because of the bigger bone, and in general, like more like I'm a lean guy, so I'm tall and lean, but never felt something like that I have to balance it out. Sometimes I like use some dumbbells on my left to get like strong as well, but I had never the wish to get it equal. So that was always like part
Well,
of my life, but never felt this wish. Yeah.
I mean, equals probably a stretch. I mean, your right arm is huge. I mean, you could see them when you just sort of adjusted, like it was, it's considerable size. So when did this whole arm wrestling come about then?
So probably everyone tried it out, the arm wrestling. So in school or kindergarten with friends and with dad or parents, whatever. And I tried this as well, and I like to do it because I got much more power in my right than in my left, and it was like always like nice to do this. So in school and something, and don't know how it's in Britain or the rest of the world works, but in Germany is normally that the arm wrestling clubs are looking for some kind of fresh blood, some amateurs to get into the club, and they're usually hosting some kind of small arm wrestling competition. So not like the classy stuff on the bar. So with a professional table, so with a referee, so that nobody gets injured with it. But they're doing going to like cities or some kind of whatever events, and then doing some kind of, it's called newcomer tournament. And I was going to school in a city called Haldensleben, where I was born as well. And I was 16 years old in 2004. And my mom went to a petrol station, and she found there like a little flyer which said, Haldensleben, my hometown, is looking for the strongest arm wrestler. And she said, you want to try this? And I was like, brave or crazy, whatever, enough. Yeah, why not? Because I like to do it with my friends, and I got this massive strong arm. Why not trying it? And yeah, so, and then I was 16 years old, so I couldn't enter a bar by myself. So of course my friend and my parents went with me to this bar, and then we were, so during the days before I was like training for it, whatever. So I don't have any idea of arm wrestling. It was right before YouTube or whatever, so the only thing I know is that my parents got a video of Over the Top in the 90s, and I was having like some small amount of memory of this seeing as a kid, but nothing more. No YouTube, no social media during this time. So I just saw the photo on the flyer. So, and I went to this bar, and I was like, okay, now I'm 67 kilo. So maybe there's like a 65 kg class. Maybe I can drop 2 kilo or whatever. So the flyer said that there are weight classes, so 3 weight classes. Yeah. So, and I entered the bar, and we were waiting there, and we always like, and then they're coming in biker, big guys, bodybuilder, big guys, and we were like always like spotting them. And my parents said, "Oh, that will be hard. That will be tough." And then, oh, they're coming 3 guys in it. They're looking pretty lighty. That will be easy. And I said, "No, that's my friends who want to support me." So the whole stuff, the whole classes went, and they couldn't open the smallest class of 85 kg. So I had to enter the 95 kg class. So much more than 67 kg.
Yeah.
And yeah, so people were laughing a little bit at me, and looking, and the whole stuff. So it's not because I was the youngest, I was the lightest. And yeah, but we got these referees there, and they, before they start this arm wrestling competition, they show a little bit of techniques that we didn't get injured, or that we know a little bit what's important for arm wrestling. So, and yeah, so, and then I was the tournament starts. So, and then I won my first fight. I won my second fight. Then I lost one. Then I won the next one, qualified for the final. Yeah, at the end of the day, I won my class, and in the overall class, it's kind of champ of the champions class, where the champions of all weight classes coming there, I become number 2. And it's funny because on this day, first they were laughing at me, and then when I went to the bathroom, they were like giving me like some kind of tunnel and saying yeah and great and the whole stuff. So the whole atmosphere in the room changed. So I won this tournament, and then this guy from the arm wrestling club, my club VfL Wolfsburg, said, "Oh, that was awesome. So would you be interested to come to our club and get some kind of rehearsal, some kind of first training, and we can see if you like this one?" I said, "Yeah, okay, why not?" And then I went to my club, which is like 1 hour off my house, 1 hour drive. Went with my dad there, and do some kind of technical training and some weight training, and liked it because it was cool, loved it, and yeah, stayed at this. And some months later, I become a German champion in the youth class. So that was a beginning in 2004.
Wow, it sounds like the start of a movie. Like when you said that you've walked into the bar. I'm picturing you with like a hoodie on, so no one can sort of see, anything different about you. Just some 16-year-old kid that walked in the bar. Everyone's like, "What's this guy doing?" And then you're just like, "Bosh!" and you just smashing everyone. Hats off to you. I mean, at 16, was there not an age limit for it?
Not sure. Different times. So maybe today it will be different. But I got my parents with me, and they also. So even if I would old enough to attend this tournament without them, they would definitely support me. So no matter if I need them or don't. So that was cool. And yeah. So and I won a trophy and a sandwich.
Oh, even better. So 2004, 16, you've won your weight class. Obviously, the newcomers. You started at your club. I mean, an hour's travel. That's not, it's no short journey. It's, hats off to your dad for it as well. So, what happens after that?
So we did this kind of trainings as possible as it was during this time. I guess I started in 1st of February, and German championships were in April, so got some months of training before. And yeah, sometimes my dad, or most of the time, my dad drove me and spent, of course, the time there. So they were like driving there 1 hour, 1.5 hours, then training there. So they were, or sometimes my mom and my dad went with me and went for a coffee, and then drive 1 hour back. And we did this like, so like couple of long times. So. And they spent the time there, so you know how it is for a family. So they had every Monday they had to be there or lose 2 to 3 hours. And after this, I went to the German championships, as I said, to Frankfurt. And I won these championships, and then I get used to it slowly. So and that was different time. I know today it's much harder to win this, and during these times I was, of course, not. You can't be so good in techniques and the whole stuff, but that was a good beginning. First German championship, that was cool. And yeah, so after that I went on training. I went to the European Championships in Poland, also in the youth class. Become sixth place, and was frustrated and disappointed that I just get sixth place. But that's different because arm wrestling is like very dominating in Eastern European countries, and there were people, because I was in the sport during this time for like 4 months, 5 months, and these guys also with 16 years, they did this like for 7 years or whatever, or starting in second grade or whatever. So it's like many countries that it's school sport. Yeah, and then I went on training. So just kept this there and becoming more professionalized. So got some equipment at home. My dad is like he's constructing windows, and he built me an arm wrestling table for my basement. So with the measurements, and then I start to work on with rubber bands. It's usual to arm wrestling workouts, and bought some dumbbells and got more and more equipment during the next months and years. So that was a beginning year. So I went to another tournament for international tournament, become, I guess, 5th place or whatever. And then the World Championships, I would love to go there. I was in South Africa, but didn't get the money and the experience to go there. So that's why I couldn't go there. But that was basically the first year, and I guess that was the right decision because always step by step, my coach said, which is not, I would not say right, but not too wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Learning to walk before you can run.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, definitely. So you touched on it a little bit there about like your training side of it. What does a sort of training day look like for you?
So pretty depends on the period of time. So you can combine it or compare it to boxing training, I would say, because you can't do like arm wrestling on like some league stuff. So it's not Premier League soccer or football. You have to be focused on different events, because if you go every week for an arm wrestling tournament, you die probably. So it's like every week like a major boxing event. So that's not so. I try to attend like 8 to 10 tournaments per year. And when I go for World or European Championships, so the real big fish in the tank, then I will go for like 8 weeks preparation, and then I try to train 5 to 6 days a week, 1 to 2 hours, and then it depends, of course, of the training, how close the tournament gets. So and there's like a mixture between normal gym training, like chest, back, legs, some cardio stuff at the beginning, especially. Then you have like some specialized machines and equipment, like you have some kind of big dumbbells. You have like arm wrestling, table training with some rubber bands and the whole stuff. Some different handles and measurements on this kind of don't know how it's in English called, but you got this kind of towers where you can arrange where the force is coming from. Yeah, and the third element is most important is sparring. So you go to my club 1 to 2 times a week and go for sparring with some many times heavier opponents to get the right horsepower. And then you go for different techniques. You go for speed. You go for some kind of defense or offense training. So, and this is like going for some weeks, and then as it's going closer to tournaments, then you get less repetitions and more weight in the whole dumbbell training, the whole stuff. But that's usually in some kind of probably every kind of preparation for combat sport or fighting sport or whatever. So that's like the routine for the big tournaments.
So you mentioned there about doing offensive and defensive training. Yeah. Could you explain that?
So it's like, so arm wrestling power is very important, and the whole stuff. Speed is very important, but it's always like, I would say, like the most important factor in this kind of sport to be successful is technique. So, and you got some different kind of techniques where you can block or counter every other technique. So, and it's always like body type specific, because I'm like tall. I'm you got centimeter or feet?
Either or.
So I'm 185 centimeter.
Okay.
Feet.
So
and
about
it's 6'1". 6'1".
Yeah, 6'1".
Yeah, exactly. So so I got like long leverage for my weight class, which I'm actually world champion in the 70 kg class. So most of the time I'm one of the tallest guys in my class. So and
definitely.
So that's why I'm built for top roll, and the top roll is called pop, 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 where you open with the area under your thumb. You try to open the fingers of your opponent. So that's why you can use your leverage as best as possible. So yeah, so you roll the hand of your opponent.
So you're rolling.
You open. So like if you drink like a beer, that's like nearly the same techniques. And some shorter guys with shorter leverage, for example, go for the hook. That's like that you just drag in your wrist, exactly, and then it's more like on short leverage. And yeah, so, and if you're like a tall guy, longer leverage, you have like a longer way, so you have to be more focused on the fingers. And so that's a whole small technique, small sequence of arm wrestling. And there's also like you got like this elbow pads there. You can't lift your elbow up the pad, so that's why. So you get a foul, 2 fouls, you get like first a yellow card, and after 2 fouls, you get like a red card, and you lose this fight. So there are some kind of different kind of fouls, and you try to avoid this. You try to get like a clean technique. Then it's always like the referees adjust you for the like fair position for both opponents, and then it's on the signal ready go, and then the competition or then the fight starts. But you have to be a very awake before the signal to get like a positive arrangement. And if people are switching off with their hands, so then you get like a referee's you get like a strap, and then they tie together the hands. Maybe you saw this on this kind of arm wrestling. It's pretty common, and then they always like different kind of positions and techniques how to get a good position in this kind of strap. All very very technical in every kind of sport. So it's like you get some mega nerds on this. So and that's why. So it's not like stupid pulling. It's more like stupid technical pulling.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it was that sort of in depth. I thought you got lined up, and that was sort of you really. So when you're building up, you say obviously you go and your reps and stuff get. What do you have sort of like with running? Is the only sort of thing I've got really that I like where you taper off as you come into the event. Do you do the same with that, or do you stay lifting heavy? You must have a few days, like, because I wait.
You mean like a break before the tournament, or what you?
Yeah,
what you
so
mean?
you like taper off with your training.
Okay. So usually for the big stuff, so depends on the small stuff. You don't get too much days off, but on this kind of world championships, I like take a bigger break, 10 to 7 days. So depends on how long I do have to travel, but especially on this last periods of training, so it's so heavy, and it's so and then. And you need some time to get some energy back in your body, and to get the tiredness. Is that the word? So you get like the sleep out of your muscles. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not tired.
Yeah, exactly. So that to keep it fresh, and especially like we got this weight classes, and it's always like that you get like acid in your muscles, so that's why you have to also get out of weight in. So depends on sometimes heavy stuff. With the pandemic, I had like 80 kg, so I had to drop down 10 kg, and if you try to build up muscles and drop weight, right, that's pretty hard. So so that's also like an issue, that you have to eat very clean and get used to your diet, but also like don't become too weak. Yeah, so it's always like balanced out.
So you at 70 kg for arm wrestling
for competition, yeah.
You're going to be head and shoulders above everyone, surely, in that weight category. They're going to be sort of what, 160.
So all guys on the same weight class. You mean this?
Yeah, the lads in your weight class, they're going to be considerably shorter than you.
So shorter, yeah.
So shorter, so they're going to be more stocky.
Many guys are shorter, but not all. So it depends on the style of fighting, but I also had in my category taller guys than me sometimes. So, but it's like, so it's not typical that they are more like bulked up. It's more like lean and fast. So and technical. So it's not they are all shorter than me, much shorter. So it's all different kind of bodies. Depends on the style you're fighting with.
So when you, but for me, obviously, because you're in the 70 kilogram, like I know I'm 95 kilograms, and I'm only 5'11", and I wouldn't say I'm not like, I'm not fat.
Yeah,
I could lose a bit. Do you know what I mean? But for my size, obviously you'd cane me at arm wrestling, but the difference for you, because it's almost like you've got it's almost like a cheat code really on your arm, because you've got your body is the body type that you've got, but you have this massive weapon. You have this bazooka on your arm basically. That is, that is
but
3 times.
If you see some Georgian teenagers with full bearded, then you see some other kind of genius. I always like compare it with some basketball player. So probably Dirk Nowitzki wouldn't be as a good basketball player if you just have 5'5". So that's the same thing. So,
Of
but
course.
that's an advantage. Of course, it is. Yeah, it's much easier there. But if you have guys who are just tall, they are not automatically good basketball players. So, and that's why I said, from the leverage perspective, I needed like 19 years to get world champion. So that's why, if it's be that easy with a bazooka arm, then I will be directly on my first year world champion. So that's so much more in technique. And even if this kind of hook techniques, they are like very tough to taller guys, and that's, you get like, for every technique, for every body type, you get like a technique to block or to walk with speed or whatever. So there are always like enough opportunities. Yeah.
Now that well, in fact, we haven't even got to that yet. We've kind of got sidetracked off of what we were going.
Sure.
So we'd got to. You've obviously missed out the first year going to the championships in South Africa.
Yeah.
So what happened from that?
So in the first years, I was still young, so I was then 17 years old, and we did this pretty step by step. So as you said, walk before you run, and so basically I always like getting like 1 to 2 times per week for training, and then getting to get used to this kind of course. It's hard for the muscles, but it's much harder for the tendons. Tendons, yeah. Is it called? Yeah.
Yeah, tendons, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. And that's why also my coach said, oh, the tendons are growing 8 times slower than the muscles. So you have to be very careful, and you have to check out that you don't rip your tendons. So that's why we did the step by step. And so that's why the first years when I was young, I didn't train not too much of my club. So I just had my arm wrestling table at home, and some guys are coming around, but that was it. So I didn't compete so serious like now, and I didn't pay so much attention in preparing for arm wrestling competition. So, but when I get, and of course, like as I told you, if you're under 18 here, you can't drive. So that's why it was much harder, and I didn't want to put so much pressure on my parents to drive me 4 times a week to the gym, to the training, whatever. So that was so I was, of course, focused on school, and then after go to university, so also like get my degree done. So that's why. But so during the first years, I attended like 5 tournaments per year. Next year, so during this times, you had to enter the senior classes with 18 years. Now it's different. Now you get like under 21 years, under 23 years. So it was on this kind of stuff. It was much harder during this time. So guess I got, in my second year, I got a silver medal on the German championships in the men category. Got some kind of medals on international tournaments, and first time then I went for European championships and my first senior world championships in 2006, where I guess I was in Hungary, where European championships, where I get, what was it, quarterfinal or 8 final, whatever. So, and on the world championships in Britain, I did nothing. So that was didn't just got 2 hard matches, but lost both, and then I didn't make the qualification for another round. So that was pretty. But then I also got used to my body and got some good partners from training to get used to the club. So that was pretty very focused on the first years of my career. Yeah.
Nice. So obviously now, look, just moving forward slightly. There's the 10 minutes. Have you? I take it have you moved closer to the club now, or?
I was far away because I was studying somewhere else, but never lost ground to the club. And now I can drive by myself. And I got 2 brilliant training partners. In 2009, they entered the club. They are twins, and they are both world champions in a lower weight category, is the 63 kg. and they are living closer to my house, so that's why we are doing like a carpool, so it's getting like a little easier. I got my whole basement full of equipment for training, many dumbbells, many weights, 3 arm wrestling tables, because I work and now I have money to buy the whole stuff, so that's why it's much easier now to train at home, and got like a house and enough space for the whole stuff, so now it got much easier to get used, and with a own car, then it's easier also to go for other clubs and trains with different guys. So it's got much more professional and of course much easier.
Yeah, yeah. So when like nowadays, obviously you've got the the likes of YouTube, like you mentioned earlier, stuff like that. But before you would go to say the European Championships or whatever it was, would you sort of have sort of an inkling of who would be there, like who was the one to watch out for, so to speak?
So in the past it was as you said, much harder, but I guess from the international tournaments and from the Germans, the guys in your category. And when you get more like to European championships, then you got some kind of enemies there, some villains in your class, and they are on this high world level. You always like got the same guys there. So for example, for like an Usain Bolt probably knows the 100-meter runners in his class, and that's the same with arm wrestling as well. Some new guys. Some guys are stepping up in higher weight categories to move up. Some move down. So that's always like. But usually after some years, the guys in your class, and I can tell you, it's always like hard to go for the Eastern European guys. So it was always like first years, especially, was my biggest success to be the best from the rest. So that was always like it's the first of my goals. If you have some guys in front of you, they're just from Eastern Europe, and that's fine. So it was the first success.
Right, yeah. Stepping stones, yeah. I think that's a lot of what a lot of people get sort of lost in the wilderness with in any sort of pursuit in their life. And you mentioned about the tendons there as well. I do a lot of sort of research. I'm a bit of a geek with my training and stuff like that, because I want to make sure I'm optimizing it. If I'm going to do it, I may as well do it to the best. And that was one thing that I did learn about obviously the tendons, and they're sort of slow to the party, so to speak. But I'm going to cut us off now because it's perfect time really. We've only got about 5 minutes left. So do you want to give everyone your Instagram, YouTube, and all the rest of it?
Yeah, sure. So if you're interested in more arm wrestling and more of myself, the arm wrestling champion Hellboy, then go to TikTok, go to Instagram, or go to YouTube and just enter Hellboy Arm Wrestling or Hellboy Arm Wrestling Entertainment, the real Hellboy. Just go for Arm Wrestling and Hellboy. You probably will find me, and then would love to see some of you guys there, to leave a like, to leave a follow, or just enjoy the stuff you can see there, lifting heavy stuff.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for this week's episode, and we shall see you next week, everybody.